Welcome to this video. Today I will be going over some basic Mac computer maintenance and cleaning, and this will include how to remove a virus, malware, adware, and spyware, and this will also help optimize your computer and help it run more efficiently. Please be aware I will be listing the steps down below in the notes, so make sure that you're following along down below. And also, I am doing this on Mac OS Sierra. If you are using a different Mac OS or a different version, the steps are the exact same, so this will still apply to you no matter which version or OS you're using. For step number 1, you're going to go up here to Go and go down to where it says Utilities. And when the Finder opens up, you'll look for where it says Disk Utility. Just go ahead and open it up. And then when this window opens, come over here to the left-hand side and select the top option. You will go to First Aid and click on it, and then you will click on the Run button to verify and repair disk permissions. As soon as you have a green check mark, you can go ahead and click on Done, and then you'll come over here to the left-hand side and select the next option down, and then you will come back here to First Aid, and then you'll go ahead and click on Run. Please be aware that this is going to slow the computer down, so I would go ahead and save and close any other programs you have open, and then go ahead and click on the Run button. As soon as you get another green check mark, you can go ahead and click on Done, and you can close the disk utility. For step number 2, you're going to go down to the notes below and click on the link there. It will take you to this page for the adware removal tool for Mac from Bitdefender. It's a free program. You'll go ahead and click on the free download button, and you'll need to install the program. So I'm just going to go ahead and open it up here. And once you have it installed, go ahead and just close Safari or any other programs you have open. As soon as you have all other programs closed, you'll just go ahead and click on the Search for Adware button. This is usually a really fast scan, so it won't take very long. Now, if it finds anything, it will give you the results. If you get a message like this, that means that it's clean, and you're good to go ahead and close that program. For step number 3, if you go down again to the notes below and click on the link there, it will take you to this page, which is Malwarebytes for Mac. I'm going to go ahead and download it. And just like before, once it downloads, you'll need to double click on it to open it up and install it. Make sure that once you have it installed that you close all other programs, including your web browser. And so I'm going to go ahead and close Safari. And then once you have it installed, you'll just need to locate it and open it up. Now once you have Malwarebytes installed, you'll have a window like this, and you'll want to first come up here to the top left-hand side, click on Malwarebytes, Anti-Malware, and make sure you click on Check for Updates, because you absolutely need this to be updated in order for it to work. Once finished, you can click OK, and then you'll go ahead and just click on Scan to scan the computer. Once the Malwarebytes scan has completed, you'll either get a message like this letting you know nothing was found, or it will show you the results. If it does find anything, just make sure that it removes all of the results, and then you can go ahead and close the program and move on to the next step. For step number 4, we need to run an antivirus scan, and so down in the notes below underneath step number 4, I will list 4 different free antivirus programs that you can run on Mac. Make sure you only use one. Never ever use more than one at the same time, because it will cause problems on your computer. And so the options are Sophos. We also have a free option from Avira, AVG, and Avast. And for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to go ahead and use Avira. And so whichever one you use, that's up to you. They will all be pretty close as far as protection. They'll all do a good job. Just make sure whichever one you install, you look for the update option. You'll want to first update the antivirus program before you run the antivirus scan. And then once you get a message letting you know that it has fully updated, you can go ahead and just open up the program, whichever antivirus program you're using, and you'll want to look for the option to run a full system scan. And so we're going to go ahead and do a new scan. We're going to change the scan type. We're just going to do a full computer scan and then start. Now, again, I'm using Avira. So if you're using, for example, Avast or AVG or Sophos or even a different antivirus program, the layout is going to be different, obviously. But all antivirus programs have an update option. So you need to do that first, and then all antivirus programs have a full system scan option as well. You'll want to do that second. Once the scan has fully completed, it will list any results, if any are found, and then it will give you an option to remove or quarantine them. You'll just want to make sure that you remove and quarantine all the results that are found, if any are indeed found. For step number 5, we will be going through and cleaning out the web browsers, and so this step will have 3 parts, and for part A, we will be going through and cleaning out Firefox. And so if you have Firefox, go ahead and open it, and then you'll want to come up here to the top left hand side and click where it says Firefox. Go to About Firefox, and what this will do is just double check and make sure that the browser is up to date. If not, it will start to update, and then you will need to close and reopen Firefox to complete the update. Once that is completed, you'll come up here to the top right hand side and click on the menu button, and then go to Add-ons, and then make sure over here on the left hand side you have the Extensions tab selected. And the first thing you'll do is come over here to the gear, click on it, and click on Check for Updates. And then also double check and make sure you have this option checked as well to update automatically. Now, as far as extensions and plugins and other add-ons, we know they're fun and convenient, but they are not good for security. They are not good for privacy. They let malware into the computer and browser, and they also slow the browser down. And so I strongly recommend that you remove all extensions, with maybe one exception, that being if you have a password vault or password keeper. You may have an extension for that here. But other than that, all other extensions should be removed, especially if it has the word toolbar in it. So I'm just going to go through and hit remove on all of these. And if you have one like this, it just means that it's in a shared file, but it is disabled, so that's completely fine. Please be aware that the extensions will not fully remove until you restart the browser. But again, I cannot emphasize enough, it is best to have 0 extensions on your browsers, with the exception of maybe a password vault or password keeper. Next, you'll come over here to plugins, and this will give you a list of plugins. Just come over here and click on the little drop down menu and change all of them to ask to activate if it has the option. Some of them may not have the option to change them, and so if it doesn't have the option, just leave it the way it is. Or if you know it's something you don't use, you can go ahead and just hit never. But any of the ones that do have the option for ask to activate, make sure you select that, because you don't want these always running in the background. This will help secure the browser and help it run more efficiently. So again, just go through and change as many of these as possible to ask to activate. Now the next thing you're going to do is go back down to the notes, and again under step 5, part A for Firefox, there is a link, which is this one right here. What you're going to do is you're going to copy it, come up here to your address bar and just paste it in and hit enter. And what this will do is check to see if anything needs to be updated as far as the plugins on your Firefox web browser. You can see here that we do have one that does need to be updated. What you need to go through, or what you need to do, is go through each one and update every single one. And then these will include security updates as well as optimization and stability updates to keep your Firefox browser healthy and safe. Now skipping ahead, I went ahead and did the update. I did have to restart the browser for the update to go through, but you can now see it says up to date. Once you have all the updates finished, you'll come back up here to the top right hand side and click on the menu button, and this time go to Preferences. Now here you'll have several options underneath the General tab. If you would like to make Firefox your default, you can click this button to do so. You can also change your home page right here if you would like to. So for example, we can put in google.com, and that will be our home page. Some additional options: if you go to search, you can right here decide what you want your default search engine to be. We recommend that you use either Yahoo, Google, or Bing, or DuckDuckGo if you want to increase privacy. Down here it will list all the search options. Now If you did have malware or some other infection on the computer, there's a good chance it installed a malware related search option, and so if you need to remove anything, you just click on it and go over here to remove, and that will remove it off the list. For part B of step 5, we're going to go ahead and do Google Chrome. And so if you have Chrome, go ahead and open it up. You'll come up here to the top right hand side and click on the 3 little dots to open up the menu, and go down to where it says Help and then About Google Chrome. And this will just double check, make sure that it is up to date. If not, it will start to automatically update, and then you'll also need to restart the browser. If it is up to date, you'll just get a little check mark like that. Next, you're going to come over here and click on Settings on the top left hand side. And here we'll have several options. For example, we can choose what we want the browser to do on startup. So if we want it to open up a specific page, we can select that option, hit Set Pages, and we could put in, for example, we could put in google.com and then hit OK. Now, if we want to change our home page, we just check this little box. It will add the home button up here, and then we hit change, select the bottom option, and then we can change our home page to whatever we want it to be. Again, I'm just going to select Google and then hit OK. If we need to manage or change the search engine, we just click on this drop down menu. Again, we recommend Google, Yahoo, or Bing, or DuckDuckGo if you're looking to increase privacy. And then if you want to set Chrome as your default browser and it's not already the default, there will be a button right here that you can click on to change Chrome to be your default web browser. Once you're finished there, you'll come up here to the top left hand side and click on Extensions. The first thing that you'll do is come over here and click the little box, just check it, and then make sure you click on the Update Extensions Now button. Once that is finished, just like before with Firefox, we know extensions are fun, they're convenient, but they are not safe, they are not private, and they are not good for the browser as far as optimization. So again, I would strongly recommend that you go through and remove as many extensions as possible. For the ones that come with Google Chrome, the default ones, what I would recommend is that you just uncheck them or unenable them while they're not being used. And so I'm going to go ahead and go through and do that first. So those are the standard 4 that come with Google Chrome. I've just disabled them. Now, like I mentioned before, if you have an extension that has the word toolbar in it, you absolutely have to remove it. You cannot keep those. Go ahead and just click on the little trash can to remove it. And then there's another one down here. We're going to go ahead and remove that one as well. Now, like I mentioned before, the only exception I would make is if you have an extension for a password keeper or password vault. If you do have one like that, come here and disable it while it's not being used. And if you need it, you can come here and re-enable it. Same in Firefox. Other than that, I would remove all other extensions just to improve security and privacy. For part C of step 5, we're going to go through Safari. And so up here on the top left hand side, you'll just click on Safari once you have it open and go to Preferences. Now, we don't have to worry about updating Safari individually because it will update with the operating system, and I will show that later. So don't worry about doing an individual update for Safari like we did in Chrome or Firefox. But once you have the preferences open, you'll go to the General tab, and if you want to set Safari as your default, there's a button to do so right there, as well as we have additional options. Right here we can change our home page if we wanted to. You just type it in there. But the main things that we're looking for is extensions. So we're going to click on the Extension tab. Now, before we do anything, just make sure that you have this little box down here checked. And then over here on the left-hand column, it will list any extensions that you do have. And so, like I've been mentioning, if you have one that has to do with a password keeper or a password vault, you can go ahead and keep that one. This one is a password keeper. And so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to remove it, but I am going to uncheck it so it's not being enabled while I'm not using it. And I would recommend that again for Chrome and Firefox. If you have an extension you absolutely need to keep, at least disable it while it's not being used. And then again, I'm going to go ahead and just uninstall Pinterest. There's no reason to have it. Even though it's from a legitimate company, that does not matter because it will still open up the browser to malware and other infections and will help slow the browser down. So, like I've been saying, you should remove all extensions with the exception of your password vault or password keeper. Just disable those while they're not being used. Once you're finished going through and removing the extensions, also come over here to security and go down to the bottom where it says plugin settings. And over here on the left hand side, it's going to list all of the plugins you have on your Safari browser. What you're going to want to do is any of the ones that are enabled with a check mark, make sure that they are set to ask over here on the right hand side. And this is similar to what we did in Firefox. Adobe Flash Player, I would not check that one unless you absolutely need to use it. Same with Java. Both of those have security risks involved, so I would recommend not checking those ones. Everything else set to ask to activate. If you absolutely need to use Adobe Flash Player, you could activate it and then set it to ask as well. But again, just to increase safety and protection, I would, if you can, and if you're not using it, I would recommend that you uncheck both of those. And then you can go ahead and click on done once you're finished changing all those settings. For step number 6, we will need to go through and clean out all of the garbage programs off of the computer. And so what you'll want to do is open up the Finder and just make sure that you have the Applications tab selected on the left-hand side. Here it will list all of the application or programs you do have installed on the computer. And so first thing I would recommend is that you go through the list, and any programs that you recognize that you know that you are no longer using or don't use, you need to remove those. And so for example, if I wanted to remove Skype, all I do is I just click and drag it to the trash, and that will remove it off of the computer. Now if there's programs here that you don't recognize, what I would recommend is that you go to Google. You can just Google them and look them up to get more information. Or another option is you can come here to shouldiremoveit.com. Now this is generally used for PCs. However, if you look up a program and find it here and it's listed bad for PCs, then it's going to be bad for your Mac as well. But you do have to be aware that because this is for PCs, a lot of Mac programs are not going to be listed here, so you might have to Google them instead. If you see anything that pops up asking you to do a download, by the way, I just want to mention right now, do not download anything off of this website. You're only going to use this to look up programs. Now, you can search them over here in the search box, and then it will give you a page like this with a rating. Just pay attention to this top bar. If it's yellow or orange or has a red rating, then it absolutely needs to be removed. And so this is just a tool that you can use to help identify programs. Another good rule of thumb, if you see any programs here that claim to be cleaners or registry cleaners or optimization programs, get rid of those. Outside of the programs that I show you on this tutorial video, you should never use any other optimization programs. Most of those are malware. Most of them cause problems. So again, if you see any programs listed here that claim to be some sort of cleaner or optimization program, make sure you get rid of those. If you see anything listed here that says toolbar, make sure you get rid of those. If you see more than one antivirus program listed here, you need to get rid of all except for one, because you absolutely do need an antivirus program on a Mac computer. But again, just go through every program here and remove all or any programs that you no longer need. For step 7, what you'll do is come up here to the top left hand corner and click on the Apple icon and go down to App Store. And then once it opens up here, you'll just come over here to the Updates option and click Update. This will just check to see if there's any updates available for your computer. Make sure that if there are updates available that you do update, because they include security updates. Some people avoid updates because they don't want anything to change. That's not good. You absolutely do need to update if any updates are found. For step 8, you will again come up here to the top left hand corner and click on the Apple icon and go to System Preferences. And then you'll need to look for where it says Users and Groups, and you'll just go ahead and open that up. And then make sure you have over here the login items selected. And then you're going to come down here and click on the padlock. to unlock the padlock, you'll need to go ahead and type in your password. And once you have the password typed in, it will go ahead and unlock so we can make changes. So this is a list of all the programs that start up when you first turn the computer on. Because we want to optimize the computer and we don't want all this crap running in the background, we're just going to go ahead and remove everything off of this list. So you just click on the item, hit the minus sign, and it removes it. Again, click on the item, hit the minus sign, and I would recommend that you get this down to 0 because there's really nothing that you need running in the background when the computer first starts up. And then once you have those all removed, just go ahead and click the padlock and it will save the changes. For step number 9, we're going to go back up here to the top left hand corner and click on the Apple icon and go down to System Preferences again. And then this time we're going to go over here to Security and Privacy. And when it opens up here, the first thing you'll want to do is you'll want to unlock the padlock again so you can make any changes if necessary. And the first thing I would just double check is make sure that you do have this set to require a password. I wouldn't go any higher than 15 minutes maximum. If you need to change your password, you can do so right there. And this is the password for the computer. And then also if you want to increase security, you can select to only download apps from the App Store, but that is up to you. Once you're finished there, you'll come over here to File Vault. This is an option to encrypt the hard drive on your Mac computer. I strongly recommend that you turn this on. Make sure you know your password because if you forget your password or lose it and File Vault is turned on, there's no way to retrieve your information. So make sure you keep track of your password. But again, I would strongly recommend turning this on to encrypt your hard drive. And then you'll also want to come over here to Firewall. And just double check, make sure that the firewall is turned on. If it is not, there will be a button here to turn it on. And then also you can come over here to Privacy, and underneath Analytics, I would just make sure that these are not checked. Personally, I want to increase my privacy, and by unchecking this, it will limit the amount of information that gets transmitted back to Apple. Also, I would recommend going to the location services and I would uncheck anything here as well. I would also not enable location services unless you're trying to look up something specifically and you want it to know your location. You could come here and turn it on, but once finished, I would recommend turning that off. And then once you're done making any changes there, you'll want to go ahead and click the padlock to save those changes. For the last step, for step number 10, you'll want to go down to the notes below and click on the link listed there, which will take you to this page, which is for CCleaner, which will just clear out all the extra garbage data. So we're going to go ahead and download the free version and click on free download, and then download again. And then once it's downloaded, we're just going to double click on it to open it up here. And you'll also want to make sure you have all other programs closed. So I'm going to go ahead and close Safari. We're going to drag CCleaner into our Applications folder. We're going to go over here and just double click on it to open it up. And then once you have it open, you'll get a window like this. I'm just going to go ahead and maximize it. So underneath the Mac OS X tab, just make sure you have the following options selected. I wouldn't go any lower than this option right here. And then also underneath applications, yours might be different from what I have, just depending on what you have installed on your computer. I would only focus on the browsers. Don't delete the saved password or saved form information out of any of those. So just make sure your boxes match what I have. And then again over here, make sure that these match what you have as well. If everything looks good, you can go ahead and hit the run button, and this will just clean out all the extra garbage data. Once it is finished, it will give you just a report letting you know of everything that was removed. And so once that's finished, you can go ahead and just close CCleaner. One other thing I should mention is once you're completely finished with all the steps, I would go back to your Applications folder and remove both CCleaner and Malware Bytes, just to be thorough and to keep your computer clean. Be sure once you're completely finished that you go ahead and restart the computer, and then you should be good to go. If you have any questions or comments, just let me know down below and I will respond as quickly as possible. Thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope you have a great day.